disbelief, devastation, fear, lots of fear. I just know I feel great, and that all the things that I'm doing encourages a healthy body and a healthy mind, and this is how I want to live my life. How I first found out about breast cancer was when I was having a regular checkup with my GP. I'd had a cyst in my right breast for about 6-7 years that I'd having regularly checked, and so when I was having this regular checkup, I was having checks about every 18 months, and with this regular checkup the doctor found 2 lumps, one in my right breast and one in my left. So I went off and had mammogram and ultrasound, and then had a fine needle biopsy, and the fine needle biopsy suggested that the one in the right hand side had what they call atypical cells, which are precancerous cells. And so then I was sent for what is called a cone biopsy, which confirmed that definitely I did have cancer. And it was then suggested the next move was to have an operation, which was all extremely scary for me. This wasn't what I'd planned for my life at all. I was really busy at the time. Once I decided that I wasn't going to go down the modern medical path, I decided I'd known about the Gawler Foundation, which is something that was set up by a guy named Ian Gawler, who had horrendous cancer. He had cancer, he'd had one leg removed, and cancer reoccurred for him right through his body, in his bones, 2 years after he'd had his leg removed. And this was 25 years ago, and I'd known his story. I'd grown up in Victoria, and so I'd known about Ian Gawler and the Gawler Foundation, and I'd said through my years growing up that if I ever got cancer, that would be the first place I would go. And I remembered about the Gawler Foundation and thought, oh, how on earth am I going to get to go there? And a friend in Mullaney sent me an envelope one day with quite a substantial amount of money in it, and it was actually enough money, and she'd put a note in the envelope saying, I don't know how I can help you, and hopefully this money will help you along your path to healing. And it was almost the amount that I needed to go to the Gawler Foundation, so that was just fantastic. I booked a plane and was down there as the very next course they had. I was able to go down. My sister picked me up from the airport, and she took me along out to Yarra Valley to the Gawler Foundation, and I feel emotional now thinking about it, that I had 10 of the best days of my life. Yeah, it's a fantastic place. The program that they have set up at the Gawler Foundation is based around natural healing and spiritual healing as well, helping you cope with your fear of death, helping you settle your mind and be able to make rational decisions where you might have been making decisions totally based in fear, which aren't always the best decisions when you think back on them. There was classes, each day had a theme, and for instance one day was based around all the healing foods, and they have a big kitchen there. All your meals are provided, and they have a big kitchen there, and they have a lady named Dorothy who has set up the whole menu, and it's based around all the foods, the healing foods that over the years people, Ian and people dealing with natural healing of cancer, all the foods that they've discovered are beneficial to healing cancer. One of the main areas in this healing and the program is the meditation. You do quite a few meditation sessions, but the initial program when you first go is a 10-day program, and I felt just amazing. I felt like I'd been reborn. It was just, I felt so supported, so knowledgeable. I'd learned so much about who I was, where I'd come from, what my life was about, and I'd learned also methods to, in the future, be able to support myself emotionally, spiritually, food-wise, all those wonderful things that maintain a healthy mind and body. The emotional effect was, well, disbelief, devastation, fear, lots of fear about the unknown, about dying, because, you know, as soon as you hear the word cancer, of course it's associated with death, even though you know that it's been said that cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence. For some reason it's just ingrained in your psyche from years and years of cancer killing people, that this may be what's going to happen to you, and that you may get very, very sick, that this could be just the beginning of something really awful in your life that you've got no control over. But fortunately I've found out a lot different since then, but at that time it was extremely scary, and my naturopath actually suggested that I was living on my own at the time, and my naturopath actually suggested that it might be helpful to me to go and stay with friends, so as I had support whenever the fear got too much, that it might be nice to have that support of friends around to be able to talk it over with and have their support. But I'm quite an independent person, so and I knew that, you know, my friends would be visiting, I could visit them anytime, and also I started to get a grip on the whole thing after the initial shock, and was able then to deal with it fairly easily.
She was amazing, so courageous, with all these doctors around just telling her all the bad stuff and what they suggested she should do. And Annie straight away said, no, I don't have to do that. Well, I found that Annie is always extremely positive person, and through all of this she stayed that way. And of course she's only human, she did have a little wobbly bits, which I was actually grateful to see, because I thought maybe Annie was just trying to be strong all the time, but no, she was vulnerable too. But all through it she knew she was doing the right thing, yeah.
Even when you do have friends around you, it's still, at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, you're there on your own, and that's it. It's just you with your thoughts, and you that makes the decisions. The GP that I saw originally, for me, the day that I had to say to him that I wasn't going to do what the surgeon had recommended and not have my breast off, not have all my lymph nodes out, not be irradiated for 5 days a week for 5 weeks, not go on a drug called tamoxifen for 5 years, which has side effects that I felt weren't going to be good for me. And the day I had to go and see my GP and say to him I wasn't going to have this was a really emotional, scary day, because doctors in our society are considered God, and to actually say to your doctor that you thought what he was telling you wasn't right was, yeah, really emotionally I ended up in tears in his room, in his consultation room, and with him saying to me, this has really upsetting you, isn't it? And I said, no, the cancer's not upsetting me. I've gotten around and over that. I'm actually upset because I have to say to you that I don't believe what you're telling me is correct, and that's what's upsetting me. And he wanted to give me a cup of tea, and that was almost the end. I thought if he offers me a Bex, I'm going to thump him. There is an associated huge cost to all this, and there's not any support when you decide to heal yourself. There's no support from the government in that way. If I had done what the surgeons wanted me to do, the government would have supported me totally in every way. Anything that needed to be done in that way, I would have had financial support from the government, but because I've decided to do this on a natural basis, the cost is really high. Organic food is a lot more expensive than your regular stuff, and all the supplements are a lot more, well, the supplements cost a lot of money. I probably spend in the region, it probably costs me about $150 a week to eat healthily and have all the supplements and vitamins that are considered great for cancer, for combating cancer. I started to get really stressed because I had gotten into a lot of debt, and my naturopath suggested that perhaps I could have some fundraisers and that she would start the ball rolling by having a dinner party at her house, and that people would pay a particular amount to come along to this dinner party. And I decided that because a lot of these people were friends and they were interested in a healthy lifestyle, that I would present a few dishes that I knew were really healthy and that they perhaps hadn't considered putting into their day, that I would present these recipes and also hand out the recipes to go with this. And so we did that, and that was my first fundraiser. That was a huge success. Of course, that raised around $250, I think it was at the time, which wasn't nearly what my debt was. My debt at that time was around $5,000, which was really scary to me. And another friend said, let's have a fundraiser and we'll have an auction. She said, I'm sure that people in the community will donate things for an auction. And she said, I'm happy to help you organise this. This was mortifying to me. I had been used to being very independent and not having to ask people for help. My parents had died when I was quite young, and I had grown up with the attitude that I don't need anyone's help. I'm okay. I can do this on my own. So for me to have to ask for help, particularly financial help, was very distressing to begin with, very humbling. Yeah, there was a lot of emotion around having to do this. But every person we approached, every time a barrier came up, there was somebody there to take the barrier down. It just seemed like this was the thing that was supposed to happen. The whole community, I think we ended up with nearly 100 items being donated, which was just fantastic. So we had this evening, there was a couple of articles done in the local newspaper around what I was trying to do for my health, and people just turned up on the evening. We had it at the Upfront Club at the Community Cooperative Cafe. Yeah, there was a lot of support from the cafe, and yeah, people we ended up, the night was a fantastic success. We raised $3,500 that night, which was just fantastic. And just over 12 months later, again, I decided to do a few more expensive, try a few more things that were quite expensive. And so again, there was the pressure of debt, and again another auction was suggested, which I was reluctant to do. I was reluctant to ask the community again to support me, but with the help of just fantastic friends, it all happened again, and this time we raised $5,000.
Part of Annie's emotional growth was to learn to reach out and ask for help. So one of the things that I did with her was I asked her to write a letter in the local paper and invite the community to help her. And I think that as part of Annie's growth, her emotional development, it was an enormous surprise to her, and a tremendous healing aspect of her journey was to see how extraordinarily happy the community was to get behind her.
Yeah, it's just been magical what this community has done for me. I'm finding, since I've decided that these are the particular modalities that I will stick with, that I'm not trying new things all the time, that I'm actually able to manage my finances a lot better now. Since coming back from the Gawler Foundation, I have a whole program that I do daily. It's based around, I start my day with some yoga exercises to limber up my body. I then go on to do a meditation session. I then have a lemon juice and water to cleanse my liver. And then I have quite a substantial breakfast. I have a breakfast based on what I learned at the Gawler Foundation, but also based around, I also do a thing called the Gerson therapy. And so my breakfast consists of a 5-grain porridge with skim milk yogurt, and I have lecithin in there, and I have some fruit, and oat milk porridge, oat milk in the porridge. And of course, before I do this, I have a range of supplements. I have pre-meal supplements and post-meal supplements. Yeah, so have those. There's about, at the moment, I'm taking, I think it's about 12 different vitamins and supplements, either before or after meals. Just basic things a lot, like vitamin C, and there's also digestive enzymes to make sure that I get maximum value from the good food that I'm eating. All the food I eat, I try and make sure it's organic, and I don't eat a lot of processed food. Try and make sure that most of the food I eat hasn't been overly processed, so there's a lot of energy in that food. After breakfast, I usually try and do something supportive of my creative side. Part of that for me, and I think part of a meditative side also, is to get out in my garden. I grow a lot of my own vegetables, so I've got a nice vegetable patch that I go and tend my veggies, make sure that the bugs aren't getting to them too much, and that they've got plenty of water and the weeds aren't happening. And then it's usually time for the first juice of the day. I do 5 vegetable juices a day. I usually do 3 carrot and apple juices and 2 green juices. And the green juices, I call them my jolly green juices. They're not quite as palatable as the carrot and apple juices. The green juices have red cabbage, spinach or silver beet, lettuce, celery and green apple and capsicum. Yeah, so that's the green one. The green apple in the juices, the malic acid in the green apple helps your body digest the juices, and juices are just a really refined form of nutrition. You're getting the absolute best out of the vegetables in a really refined form, so it goes straight to your body at a cellular level. It digests really quickly and goes quickly into your body to nourish your body. I have my first juice about 10 o'clock and then space them through the day. I usually try and do a green juice, then a carrot juice before lunch. And then it's lunchtime and time to go down to the garden, pick a salad. So I get nice fresh vegetables for my salad and either make something like a vegetable patty I'll have. So usually I pre-prepare some things. It's best to have mostly fresh food, but yes, I pre-prepare. I do eat fish twice a week and I eat liver twice a week. Then after lunch I'll often have a friend drop over to help with financing my supplements. I do haircuts for friends. I'm a qualified hairdresser, so yeah, I do haircuts for friends. So often in the afternoon I'll do a haircut or two, which helps with the financial, and also because they're friends, I get to have a chat with people and share my new recipes that I've discovered, if I've got any. Intersperse that, of course, again with more juices. And then an afternoon meditation. I do a meditation during the afternoon. And then often a trip into town. Town's nice and close. I live in town, so I'm fortunate I can go in and pick up nice fresh vegetables, things like the carrots and the apples and capsicums that I don't grow myself. I can drop into town, go to the post office, pick up my mail, and that can take quite a while because through working in two fairly high-profile community places like Barung Landcare and the Malani Cooperative Cafe, I've gotten to know a lot of people, but also through my fundraising efforts, I've gotten to know a lot of people also, and people, the community, because I've had a bit of a profile in the newspapers with my fundraising, my two big fundraising events that I had. A lot of people have gotten to know me and are interested in how I'm doing and really keen to know how I'm doing because I look so well. They're really encouraged to think that a natural healing process, he's an example of somebody who's been able to conquer what's thought of as a life-threatening disease. Yeah. Two evenings a week I go to a yoga session. I have a yoga group that I go to, so I do an hour and a half's yoga twice a week. Usually I have dinner around 6 o'clock, and that again involves cooking up something fresh, usually something with a rice-based dish, plus a salad, and maybe something like a nori roll, a vegetable soup, a pasta of some sort with a sauce. It's suggested too with a lot of these things that with rice, lentils, chickpeas, that you soak them for 12 hours and then germinate them for 12 hours. and that starts the growth factor. So they've got a lot more nutrition in them, and they're a lot more easily digestible as well. After dinner, I usually check my emails, often do some reading. Most of my reading's based around self-help with cancer, a lot of spiritual stuff, a lot of alternative healing things. When you decide to heal yourself with what's considered alternative or supplementary, complementary, there are thousands and thousands of things that you can do, natural healing things that you can do, and you could spend your whole life trying different natural healing things. I got quite depressed for a while because there were so many things presented to me. About 6 months ago, decided after checking and cross-checking the different things that I was trying and reading about, that these were the things that I felt were right for me to be doing, and I've settled now on those particular things, and when new things come up I'll read about them, but and sometimes think, yes, I'll add that, but other times think, well, no, I don't need to add that. I'm happy with what I'm doing. What I'm doing for me seems to be working well. And unless there's major evidence to say that, unless it strikes me that, yes, this is something that I really need to be doing for me, then I stay with what I know now.
The main thread that I saw emerging in Annie was that there was a growing sense, a realisation, that she evoked from within herself thoughts and reactions that were precursors to chemical changes in her body. And what I've seen with Annie over the last couple of years is that she's emerged as someone who is now recognising that her body will go through various changes. She's learning that her power really comes from within herself, and it's been a wonderful thing to see her get very, very much more involved in meditation, in watching her internal dialogue, moment by moment, in watching her realisation that her mind can create changes in her body, as in, if she feels positive, she'll feel better.
Part of the Gerson therapy is to drink raw liver juice, and it's also part of a few other therapies as well. And that was a real challenge for me to get around to doing that, because having to emulsify liver and then put it into a carrot and apple juice and drink it was a really difficult thing. It took me ages to come around to that one, and I knew I was, it had been recommended so many times. So I used to mix that up, and the first few times I had to actually hold my nose, and that way I could actually get it down without, and if I thought about that I was drinking a mango smoothie, that made it much easier as well. So that was one of the more difficult things I did, and I did that for about 9 months each day. Some people do a lot more than drink it once a day. Some people drink it 4 and 5 times a day. So I considered I was fairly fortunate not having to do that. And another part of the Gerson therapy also is coffee enemas, which I was doing. I did coffee enemas for about 2 years. Again, fortunate, I was doing only 2 coffee enemas a day. Some people do up to 7 coffee enemas a day, and I don't know how you fit that into your life. It's also recommended if you're very, very ill with cancer that you can have 15 juices a day and 7 coffee enemas. So for me, having 5 juices a day and 2 coffee enemas was pretty easy overall. Something else I also did was a gallbladder cleanse, which had been recommended a few times. And with that, you drink a 500 mils of olive oil mixed with 500 mils of lemon juice. And then lie down, you rest with that in your stomach all night. And then when you get up the next morning, you actually pass gallstones, which fairly nauseous feeling when you've been drinking it, but after that well, feel really good. And apparently a lot of people have got gallstones. They often don't show up on ultrasounds. So, yeah, I felt that that was a good thing to do as well. I also had a lot of different tests. I had live blood analysis and clot retraction tests, which are different blood tests that can pick up how you're travelling health-wise. I also have regular Reiki treatments with a friend. I have at least one Reiki treatment a week, and I also do have lymphatic drainage massage and a regular body massage as well. I find that really relaxing, and yeah, with the Reiki also, I feel that that's really beneficial, that sort of thing. And I also had acupuncture treatments once a week. They were really beneficial as well. Things that I mainly did that helped me cope with the stress of it was talk to friends. I have fabulous friends in Mullaney. Mullaney is a community where it's like having another family. There's people in Mullaney that adopt you virtually as family and are there totally for you as if you were part of them. And my dear friend Carmel, she's just been there every time I've needed her. She and her husband really too. They drive me around the place, down to Brisbane, over to Nambour. Whenever I need to go and see a doctor, they're always there for me. And Carmel comes into all the doctor's visits, so she's able to write things down that she thinks I might need to remember, or ask the questions that, you know, because I'm in such a panic about hearing what I'm hearing, she's there to be more rational and be able to remember what I need to remember. Something else that's been really good for me too, and this happens with quite a few people that are recovering from cancer. My naturopath, Marisha, actually donates her services to me and others in that way, and financially that's been a huge benefit to me. I wouldn't be able to see her nearly as often as I do, and she's always there no matter when I need her. I can just phone and ask her about things, or go and see her, and that's been great. It's really important to have a support group that you're involved in too, I've found, and my local support group is called Cancervine, and they provide support in the way of a library and information around different workshops that might be happening, with presenters presenting different healing methods or different spiritual practices that you might like to try.
I had been challenged with cancer myself. And it was 94 that I met David Hurst when I was looking for a support group. I couldn't find what I was looking for, you know, not something that was really supportive and gave you what I call a window of light into the world of healing. You know, it's all very well to go to a support group, but you're really looking for something that gives you a future, that gives you hope, that gives you answers and direction. And it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. So in the meantime, I'd met David Hurst, who was an absolutely amazing man. He was a Buddhist who was teaching healing meditation. And by the time we got it all up and running and got together, it was July 95 before it was registered as Cancer Research Association. Well, what we provide is an excellent library, basically mostly holistic information and internet information. We provide doctor listings, naturopathic listings, all sorts of information that people would look for, or let's say help them to find direction, other directions of healing apart from chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and how to embrace the other aspects of holistic healing, and what is really available out there and who they can contact with. Not only that, but clinics overseas. Unfortunately, I've been able to go and visit various places like this. And to be able to just offer this sort of information to people, it isn't just based on one point of where you are. It might be where the base is, but in actual fact we spread much further because the magazine reaches people in all sorts of areas. We usually do, which is a healing meditation. I think it's one of the major tools in the healing journey, along with your diet and your nutrition. And healing meditation is just so important. We have a sharing. Everyone sort of shares what's happening in their life, and it's never depressing. It's always upbeat and very supportive. And we offer lots of information, and we have some wonderful speakers and workshops and seminars. And Dr. Rislento is our patron, and she does occasionally come along and teaches seminars for people and people who offer their help and support to Cancer Survivors, and particularly in the voluntary side. And it's really grown in, I think, a very positive, supportive way, and offering, I think, just exactly what people need to survive, can survive, definitely.
Because my diet is much more restrictive than a lot of people's, it makes it difficult to go out spontaneously for dinner with friends, particularly to restaurants, because there's a lot of things in the food that I don't eat anymore. So it gets difficult. Sometimes you have to pre-plan and ring the restaurant and make sure that they've got a lot of variety in salad materials and things like that. And you, while everyone else is having perhaps gourmet food, you sit there with a very nice salad with no salad dressing. But sometimes it gets really difficult to sit there and have that time after time, particularly with all the wonderful sights and smells of really nice food in top-class restaurants. But that's part of life that you get to accept, and I'm always thankful that at least I'm here to be able to complain, if you like, and not appreciate those really good things, or what I used to consider really good things. Yeah.
Well, the lifestyle changes were quite immense. She was on a strict schedule, dietary schedule, and taking lots of natural kind of therapies, pills, so she'd always be carrying a whole swag of pills with her. And also she made an investment in an esky, because there was always the little thermos of juice, and when we used to go and play marimbas or whatever, do workshops, and we'd have our cups of tea and Annie would pull out her juices. So, and she's still sticking with it. She's pretty amazing, yeah.
I actually feel that I now have combated the cancer, but I'm working on, I will stay with all the nutritional and food changes and lifestyle changes I've made, because I know that I'm just so much more healthy. I have people say daily how fantastic I look, and that is just so encouraging to keep going with what I know is really good for me. And I just know I feel great, and that all the things that I'm doing encourages a healthy body and a healthy mind, and this is how I want to live my life. Now 18 months since I did the initial interview for this video, and last week I had my 6-monthly visit with my surgeon, and I'm really pleased to say that I've been given the all clear once again. So I'm now 4 years down the track and feeling really fit, well, happy and healthy, and looking forward to a lovely long life.